Geek Movie Theories.
Fan theories.
Fan theories. This is actually a requested video from our YouTube channel. So thank you, Gaming God. Daryl, what is your number 3 Geek Movie Theory, fan theory?
This comes from Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
There's a fan theory that Mad Max in Fury Road is not the same Max from the original trilogy.
It's not the Mel Gibson character?
Exactly. In The Road Warrior, there's a feral kid. He's maybe 8, 9 years old. He is sort of this animalistic kid.
You're right.
Who's sort of grown up having to just be feral to survive. It's his character who is narrating The Road Warrior. Fan theory is Max in Fury Road is actually this feral kid now grown up.
Really?
Yeah.
And it fits. I mean, it doesn't ruin the story or anything.
Yeah, and there's different reasons to think that. Max in that movie, he doesn't speak in super complete sentences. He sort of grunts. He's like, I'm Max. Not quite, not like Groot level, but he
Tom Hardy's the performance.
He Tom Hardy's the performance, exactly. As does this kid when he's the feral kid in the movie. The timing kind of works out. That's the theory.
I like that theory.
I like it too.
I want it to be true because Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy's portrayal of Max are vastly different than Mel Gibson's portrayal of Max. He's a very different character.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a fun theory.
My number 3 theory is not even one of my favorite theories, but we are the Story Geeks. We do address a lot of cultural or spiritual symbolism. This one comes from Prometheus, and this states that Jesus Christ was an engineer who was sent to Earth.
One of the big white dudes, right?
Yes. Humans killed the engineer who was trying to make things better, and that's what pissed off all of the other engineers and made them want to kind of eradicate humanity.
The engineer that we killed was Jesus.
Correct. It actually makes sense in the through line of that story. Daryl and I believe that Jesus Christ did have supernatural power, and so now there's actually a rationale and a reasoning for that. It takes who we believe to be God, and it says that person is like an alien being. Yeah. And obviously too, like Jesus Christ coming to Earth was a gift to us, just like they're saying it was, but his death was a gift to us, where they're saying his death was a negative. So we would say his death was a positive because then he resurrected. He came to life, and that he is a constant reminder of our need for salvation and our ability to have his worthiness, so that his worthiness is imputed to us. That's the only area where I'd be like, well, I mean, that's obviously not what I believe, but it's a really interesting theory, and I think it's a good way of tying in some history into your science fiction. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is from my very favorite movie of all time, from The Dark Knight. It's about the Joker, and I don't particularly want to know much about the Joker.
Right.
I love that the Joker is such a mysterious, anarchistic character. This theory is that the Joker is essentially a war veteran. I like this because it doesn't really explain motivation, but it does explain some of the things he does. He's very skilled with all kinds of assault weapons. He's very meticulous in his planning. He knows how to do the salute in the funeral scene when they're trying to assassinate the mayor. There's even the idea that the scars on his face could have come from military service. When he's talking to Harvey, when he's in the hospital bed after getting burned, he's telling him about how he's not a planner. He's like, I'm not a planner. If a truck full of soldiers gets bombed, nobody panics. It points that he could be a war veteran, which I think is interesting because it helps clarify some of his mannerisms and his skills and stuff, but it doesn't give away any of the mystery behind him.
Yeah, I like it. So my number 2, I believe it's true. All of the Pixar films exist in the same universe.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You see instances of like different characters in the background in different films. Actually, you see it a little bit even in a crossover from Disney Animation and Pixar. I don't see why in a fantasy world that you're creating as Pixar, you wouldn't make all of these characters in the same world.
Yeah.
You're creating a fantasy world anyways. Like it kind of makes sense. Do I think that it matters to any of the stories? No, not really. There was a related story that Sid from Toy Story 1 was the garbage man from Toy Story 3. It works. I like it. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is one that I had never heard before.
Okay.
And I love. It's M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. So the fan theory is that the aliens are not aliens. They are demons.
I did see this, yes.
I'm going to read a little bit here. This is from another website, and I don't remember where I pulled it from. So
yeah.
if you're listening and this is from your website, make a comment and let us know so you can claim credit for it. It says the film centers around a priest who's having a sort of crisis of faith. And because of this, the demons appear to him as tests of his faith. Just as they appear to an army officer as an invading military and to the police officer as troublemakers, the demons reflect each specific person's fears. We never see any alien technology. We never see a ship. We never see anything like that. The biggest argument for this is the water in the house. So in the end of the movie, the water burns the alien, and we just sort of take that as, oh, the aliens are allergic to water. The water in that house has been blessed by Mel Gibson's character, who is a priest.
Right.
And by definition, that makes it holy water. There's two things that this doesn't explain. We don't see it, but we get a sense that all over the world, the aliens are being beaten because of water. Or maybe it's our atmosphere. I don't totally remember, but
I don't either.
There's this sense that they're all being beaten. Whether that makes it feel more like aliens instead of demons, or if it's just regular water and not holy water, those could be considerations. But what I'm thinking of mostly is that makes it feel like there is some sort of coordinated invasion that is being thwarted.
Right. Which it would have to be a coordinated demonic invasion as opposed to a coordinated...
which doesn't make as much sense. And then the crop circles. I mean, the crop circles are definitely more of an alien phenomena in pop culture and conspiracy theories. Nobody's really talking about demons making crop circles.
There's probably an argument to be made for, depending on your spiritual perspective, of course, an argument to be made for people's sightings of aliens are actually demons.
I like that theory. I think it really adds some depth to the movie.
My number one, I think, is really fascinating. It's really weird, though. It is that Peter Pan is actually the angel of death.
I saw something about that.
The theory is that Peter Pan is actually the angel. So this is from E! Online. Peter Pan is actually an angel of death that holds hands with the kids as they pass on to the next life, which ends up being Neverland.
Wow.
The reason these kids never grow up is because they're all dead. Peter appears before dying kids and makes sure to fly them off safely to heaven. And when you consider the original tale of Peter Pan, it kind of makes sense, because this is actually crazy. Who did a podcast on this? Oh, it was our friends, the Story Cauldron. They did a whole episode on Peter Pan. They talked about this. In the original story, it's thought that Peter Pan murdered lost boys before they could get too old. I kind of like this theory. It kind of fits. Now, I do believe that it makes it super creepy. Don't tell this theory to your kids before they watch Peter Pan.
My son's already kind of scared of the Peter Pan ride at Disneyland.
By the way, we're going to ride the Angel of Death ride at Disneyland.
This is what hell looks like, son.
I don't want to ride that ride, Dad. Okay, so I will pick one of yours, you pick one of mine, and then we'll go into our theories.
I'm going Pixar, because I don't want Peter Pan to be evil, and I just don't care about Prometheus enough. So I'm going Pixar.
So for me, hands down, Mad Max Fury Road is the feral kid. It makes up for what could be perceived as a giant story issue. I can see the feral kid being like, well, who was the hero from my generation? Oh, Max.
Yeah.
And I don't have parents. I don't know who they were. I'm going to name myself something. Mad Max. That all makes a lot of sense. Now we're going to go into our own theories.
Just one.
Just one.
Okay. I've talked with my wife repeatedly about this theory.
Okay.
She thinks I'm wrong, which I probably am. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. In this movie, there is a character named Ilsa Faust. My theory is that Ilsa Faust is not her real name, and she has undergone some plastic surgery, and she is not really this character of Ilsa Faust.
Okay.
Who she really is Julia Hunt, Tom Cruise's, Ethan Hunt's wife.
And she's not revealing herself to him as such.
She's in the new one. She's in Mission Impossible 6.
Okay.
It's still possible, although incredibly unlikely, that I could be proven right about this. Julia, Ethan Hunt's wife, is introduced in Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
Which is 2 films before this one.
Yes.
At the end of that movie, they're together and things are great.
Yeah.
And then you get to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And as far as we're led to think in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, she is dead. She was killed during a mission that Jeremy Renner's character was supposed to be overseeing. But in the end of Ghost Protocol, it's revealed that she's not dead. She's alive, Tom Cruise knew about Jeremy Renner the whole time. He faked her death to protect her. And then in Rogue Nation, nothing. No mention of her whatsoever.
Right.
He's completely moved on. So I just feel like if Ilsa Faust were actually her and she went through all of this crazy stuff, or maybe she was an agent to begin with, he kept it from her, she could have kept it from him.
Right.
It's outlandish. I recognize that. It's probably not true, but they look similar. And Ilsa Faust and Ethan Hunt definitely share a connection in Rogue Nation.
I think that's pretty well thought out.
Well,
I don't think any of mine are this well thought out. I have some really stupid ones. So I'm just going to throw them out there.
It's a good preface.
I'm not even very good at doing fan theories. First one I have is that Batman actually does have superpowers. Batman's superpower is intellect.
No, sorry.
Batman is, amongst the Justice League, the arbiter of checks and balances. He is the person that comes in and says, I have a kryptonite bullet
spear,
or whatever.
Yeah.
I have it just in case Superman is taken over. He gets out of control. I'm going to take him out. He is the master contingency planner. No one else thinks of these things.
Yeah.
The entire world has not thought of any of these things. I just think that speaks to a superior intellect than an average human being, which makes me believe that he has some level of superpowers, at least in some of the representations we see of him. I don't like it. I actually don't like it.
I hate it.
Well, I don't like it because I like to have Batman as the one human.
Not just that, but he is who he is because he made himself who he is.
Right.
That's what I love about Batman.
Right. Well, I have dumber theories than this.
Oh.
But
well,
here,
hey.
what are some of them?